All right, so have you ever played a recording back of your voice and you had this look on your face the whole entire time? If you have, or even if you haven't, you need to watch this video. Stick around. My name is Austin, aka I Am Austin on Twitch. I'm a Doom, Zelda, and retro streamer, and today we're going to answer the age-old question of, I hate the way my voice sounds on a recording. How can I get more comfortable with it? I have 3 R's for you to remember. Here we go. So R number 1 is realize. Now, there's actually a scientific reason why your voice sounds different when you play it back. When you speak and the sound waves exit your mouth, the way you hear it resonates in your head, the cavity, the space up here, differently than if someone else hears it, which is what you're hearing when you play a recording back. You also have to remember that we are our own worst critics. We're going to be harder on ourselves than anybody else will. We're going to find mistakes and other things that other people really won't even see. That, combined with having the voice sound different when we hear it back, is what drives this whole thing. I mean, I personally know someone who works in media. They have a big audience, they sound great, they've been doing it for years, and they still think they sound weird. It's all something that everyone deals with. If you get this, you're not alone, but that's what we're going to be answering in this video, and actually in the videos to come in this series. R number 2 is recognize. Recognize your niche. Now, I'm sure you've heard all the time, I have too, of just like, find your voice, be natural, be yourself, and it'll all work out. Okay, but how do you actually apply that? And for one, what's it even mean? Well, here's my take on it. First, you need to find your starting line, okay? This is your starting line. This is not where you finish, but it's where you start. It's likely going to be your wheelhouse, what you go back to, what you feel comfortable with. That can be broadcast narration, commentary, audiobooks, even corporate narration, esports. It doesn't matter, just something where you are comfortable. And yeah, it's going to take some experimentation. It will take time. And you want to find something that really feels authentic to you. You know, if I were to try to be Don LaFontaine, the movie trailer guy, I know you've heard him, in a world this summer in a theater near you. That's just not me right now. I mean, I could try to learn and go that direction, but for me, it's just not it right now. So I'm going to list a few famous voice actors, and I want you to think about, while I'm going through this, what you think of when I say them. First up, Mark Hamill, yeah, Star Wars, Luke Skywalker, the Joker, Adrian Ripberger from the 90s LucasArts game Full Throttle.
And that's your last word?
That's it.
Well, I'd like to make you just one final offer.
That's kind of what I think of. He can play a villain, he really can. He's got a rough tone about him, and that is where he's most comfortable. It's probably what you think of when you think of him. Next up, Tom Kenny, the voice of SpongeBob. Very happy, jovial, excited. That's the first thing you hear when you think of him. Darren DePaul, Samuel Hayden from Doom 2016.
Resolve!
The meme, and a bunch of other gruff, foreboding sounds. And finally, Jack Nicholson, The Shining. The insane, crazy, ridiculous villain. Like, this is what I mean when I say this is their wheelhouse. This might not be their starting line, but they found that as they have gone to see where they want to finish. And that's what you need to do too with all of this experimentation I'm talking about. And R number 3, repetition, repetition, repetition. Now, keep in mind, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. That's why we're doing this series, to teach you good technique so you don't ingrain bad habits within yourself. Practice those, have them become natural, and then hit a wall. And yes, it does take time. I remember when I started first playing guitar, a friend told me it would take a whole month to get the basics down. And like, I'm thinking that's a long time, but here it is, 14 years later, I'm still playing. That is the 3 R's, realize, recognize, repetition, and remember. So sneak peek to next week, we're going to be talking about fighting camera nerves, what happens to your body when you get nervous, and what you can do to combat that. Be sure to subscribe and ring the little bell so you don't miss out on next week's video. So if you click the video on the left, this is the intro video to the series where I talk about my history in broadcasting and media and introduce this whole thing. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next week.